One of the most important drills that you can do for your linemen is to check for knowledge and understanding. And we do this by asking one question after every session or after every practice. And that's what did you learn today? So Nick, tell me what you learned today. Let's start with the demeanor.
All right. Well, with the demeanor, you want to get a good one. Keep your balance, power, and leverage.
Okay, good.
Keep it all in one place. So you want to start with your toes pointed slightly outward.
Okay, good.
Okay, you don't want them too far, and you don't want them just pointed straight.
Okay.
So you want them slightly outward, and having them slightly outward also helps with keeping the weight on the instep of your foot.
Okay. Now, why is that important?
Because if you have the weight on the instep, it's very easy to adapt and react to what the defensive lineman is doing. For instance, if he's coming to me, it's very easy to follow him. Or if he comes to me and then cuts back, it's very easy to just change.
Good, good, good. Okay, what about the knees?
All right, knees, you want them bent, but you don't want them pointing out the same way. You want them somewhat inward.
Slightly in, okay, good.
You also want your back flat and straight up, and you want your elbows inside. You don't want them out here because you lose power right like that.
Okay, good.
So you want your elbows inside, you want your hands up to your chest like a boxer, right? And you also want your chin somewhat up. You don't want it down. You don't want it way up, but you want it, a good in the middle there.
Okay.
And you want to keep your eyes straight or on your target.
Okay, good. Now, do you ever want your back to be rounded?
No, because
Why?
when you do that, you lose balance and power and leverage.
Okay, good, good. Makes you weaker overall, right?
Yeah.
Flat back, okay. Good. That's good on demeanor. Okay, now what about stance? What did you learn in the different types of stances and when to use them?
Stance. Well, you can use a heavy stance like this when you have, say, a run down blocker. It's a run play, and you need to get down quickly. You also have a balance stance, which isn't quite so heavy, but you still want to get your hands somewhat out there.
Okay.
Right? And
now, why would you want to use the balance stance?
Well, you can pretty much do anything from it. It's a very versatile stance, and it's a good way to kind of trick the defensive lineman because he is not quite sure what you're going to do.
Good, good, okay. What's the other type of stance?
You also have a light stance, which is essentially just getting in the lineman demeanor and putting your hand down.
Okay, good. Now, could you do that from a two-point stance as well?
Yes.
Okay, now why would you want to use the two-point stance?
Well, a two-point stance, it could save time. You wouldn't have to pick your hand up or anything, but it doesn't seem to be that much of a difference.
Okay. So for pass protection, you can use the two-point stance, especially with the stagger as well, right?
Right.
Okay, good. All right, good. So you got demeanor, you have stances. Okay, now talk to me about the get-off, the explosive get-off coming out of your stance. What are some key points that you learned about that?
All right. Well, it helps with an explosive get-off to get in a heavy stance. Okay. It's harder to get going fast from a balanced or light stance.
Good, okay.
Okay. So in an explosive get-off, you would want to bring your elbow kind of back up, and you want to drive this one forward. It helps get your momentum going forward. Okay. You also want to push off either one of your feet and step forward kind of hard with the other one. Okay. Right? So it should look...
Push off your feet every step? Is that what you're saying?
Like that.
Okay, now that was a pretty big step. You want big steps or small steps?
No. You want short, choppy steps. The most you want to get is maybe about 6 inches.
Okay, good, good. Okay, now what about as far as when you come out of your stance, how high do you want to come out?
You want to be as low as possible. You don't want to get so low.
Low as possible? I mean, like,
you don't want to get so low where you're like crawling or you got your face in the ground, but you don't want to be so high as you're exposing your chest. Good,
that's the key thing. You don't want to expose your chest. Okay, good. Now, as far as getting as low as you can, it's different for everyone. It'll be different for you than it is for me. It has to be comfortable. You want to challenge yourself to stay low, but it still does need to be comfortable. You don't want to trip over your own feet because you're just so low.
Right.
Okay, all right, so good. Okay, now let's talk about the punch. Okay, what are some different punches out there that you can use?
All right, well, there is the technique where you keep your thumbs inward like this.
Okay.
So it's good for a good strong punch, but you can't really grab anything like this.
Okay, good.
Whereas if you have your thumbs up, you can kind of lock into their armpits and grab their shoulder blade or their jersey or something. Good. Easier for the control, yeah.
Okay. Now, as far as the actual technique of the punch, how do you want to do that? What do you want to hit with and things like that?
Well, you want to hit with the heel of your palm.
Okay, good. Why?
Because it has the most power behind it. You hit with the top part of your palm or your fingers, well, you have nothing behind that. But you hit with the heel of the palm, you got your arm, your bicep, your chest, all that stuff with it.
Okay, good, good. Now, when I say punch, does that mean just the arm punch?
No, you want to get your whole body into it.
Okay, good.
It starts with an explosive get-off,
All right.
first thing. And also you want to snap your hips,
Okay,
just to help with more explosiveness, and you want to extend your arms up.
Okay, good. Now, when I say about, that's the body punch, when I talk about the body punch or just the punch in general, when I say the word timing, what does that mean to you?
It means you want to get it all in one smooth motion.
Perfect.
You don't want it
Good.
broken apart.
Good. Okay, if it was broken apart, like just the punch, then the hip snap, then the climb and all that stuff, what does that do?
It makes it easier for the defensive lineman to recover and get out of this punch.
Perfect, good. Okay, good. What are a couple other punches that you can use that we talked about today?
Well, I know there was a one-hand punch that you can get for, like, if you're double teaming a guy.
Uh-huh.
You can do this, and you have your outside arm free to get anyone else who might come over.
Okay.
I remember they have the forearm punch.
Okay, good. Now, why would you want to use a forearm punch?
If... Tell you the truth, I can't.
Okay, that's fine. It's a lot to remember, I know. Okay, the forearm punch is mainly for a double team. You can use it for that, okay, or a power type of play. Okay, it's good for short yardage and things like that. But it depends on the scheme. It depends on the play. Again, I like the control factor, both hands inside. Okay, that's just my own personal theory and philosophy on that. I like to be able to control my opponent. Okay, good. So punches. Now, what about pass protection type of punches? Okay.
Okay. Well, you had the. Can't quite remember the name of it, but it was quick.
The rapid fire punch. Okay, yeah, good, good.
Quick, and I don't think it really matters if you have your thumbs in or thumbs up.
Okay,
since
that's
you're just going to retract your arm anyway.
Perfect. Okay, good. In the pass protection, it doesn't matter as much because I'm not trying to drive the guy back forward. Okay, forward.
You're just trying to get him off you.
Perfect. Good. Okay, you're just trying to stop his momentum, so it doesn't matter as much. And in that case, you're not trying to get control of him, so you don't need the thumbs up. Okay.
Right.
All right. Good. Now, what was the other one that we talked about? The oh shoot.
Shoot. Okay. You can use that as a last resort.
Okay. Good.
For instance, if a D lineman is right there, he rips through you. And you're on a bad angle with him, like let's say you're like this. Okay, no, just like
I'm ripping through you. All right.
Right. You got this on him. You need to take your other arm and you plant it in. You need to bring your shoulder with it and just keep running him out.
Okay, good, good. Okay, now use that when defensive linemen beat you on the pass protection. Can you use that in run blocking though as well?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, good, good. Now, okay, good. So we talked about demeanor, talked about stance, explosive get-offs, the punch. Okay, now what about blocking angles? You remember what we call that?
Blocking the clock?
Blocking the clock, okay. Now, what would be head up? What's that one?
A 12 o'clock block.
Okay, good. And that's just a base block, right?
Yeah, simple.
What would this one be?
And 1 o'clock.
Good.
A 2 o'clock?
Good. Now, if I'm still here...
You can do 2 or a 3.
Or a 3. Or if I'm head up, you can also use a 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would you want to use a 3?
If I need to get you that way, because the ball is being run probably really close right here.
Okay, good.
If I need to get you that way quick, I can take a quick side step, and that gives me a good leverage right there, so I can push you out.
Or even a double team too, okay?
Right.
Now, if I'm in a 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, okay, what type of block would that be?
I'd be an angle block.
Good, an angle block. Okay, now, what are the other? After 3, we have?
Yeah, 4 and 5.
Okay, and what type of block would that be?
That would be a reach block.
Okay, so you're trying to reach what?
The outside shoulder.
Outside shoulder, okay. Now, there's a couple different techniques you can use for that. Okay, you remember what they are? So after the footwork, the 4 and the 5. Okay, you remember what the first one is? The first way of blocking? The first way of reach block? You remember what that is?
There's one where you kind of pull out just like this. Pull out, I don't know, more like that.
Okay.
And then you just run around and get like that.
Okay. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, yeah. So here, come on over here. We'll get the better angle here. So that's one way of doing it, where you go ahead and take your 4 o'clock footwork step there. Good. Now you're reaching around and you turn. Now you got me turned out. Okay. The other way, come on back, is the rip. Okay. You remember that one?
Right, where you would take the step and then you rip through.
Good. You rip through. You put your body in position between myself and where the bar carrier is. Okay?
Right.
All right. Good job. So you can see that's just one way of checking for knowledge, checking for understanding with your linemen. It's a great tool to use. It gets them to coach you. After they're able to coach you and teach you, it lets them know that they truly understand. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any other interest in this, you can visit me at thelinemanfactory.com. Thank you.